We are not asking anyone to break the law. We are only reporting on laws and lawmakers as they create law or change laws. Man grows pot. Admits it. Jury sends him home. Javonnie McCoy was growing marijuana when the cops came to his Middle Georgia home. He was caught red-handed with it. Almost a pound of it, in fact. He admitted it to police, and later he looked jurors in the eye and said, "Yep, it was mine. I used it as medicine." The jurors let him go. He was minding his own business and wasn't hurting anybody, they reasoned. He just doesn't belong in prison. The jury's decision earlier this month in Dublin, Georgia, may have been due to a muddled prosecution of a muddy case. Or it may have been jury nullification, another case of citizens saying prosecutions for pot are not worth law enforcement's time and effort, or the impact on otherwise law-abiding people's lives. It was the second such win in the Lawrence County Circuit for Atlanta attorney Catherine Bernard, a conservative Republican who's also a staunch civil libertarian. Late last year, another client of hers fessed up to a jury that he had sold a couple of nickel bags to an insistent undercover drug cop. That client was cut loose after just 18 minutes of deliberation. And this is no liberal soft-on-crime region. Donald Trump won the county 2-1. Bernard also helped get North Georgia authorities to drop charges against the parents of a 15-year-old whose parents allowed him to smoke pot to help combat severe seizures. Ultimately, what may have kept McCoy out of an orange jumpsuit was that his lawyer urged the jury to empower themselves. She told them they are not potted plants or an unthinking arm of government. They, in fact, are the government. She read to the jury a section from the Georgia Constitution that says, "The jury shall be the judges of the law and the facts." Bernard said the judge chided her for bringing that up, but it seems the words sank in. The case started when police were called to McCoy's mobile home 4 years ago. McCoy's half-brother had allegedly attacked him with a stick and McCoy grabbed his .22 rifle, the one he uses to hunt squirrels, and shot his sibling in the shoulder. Police found several potted plants in McCoy's bedroom and tagged him with several charges including aggravated assault and manufacturing marijuana, a felony that can bring 10 years. The case stalled in the system and McCoy decided to go to trial. Right before the trial, the state dropped the assault accusation but kept the pot felony charge. Prosecutors did not respond to my messages. Javonnie McCoy and lawyer Catherine Bernard celebrate a not guilty verdict, even though McCoy testified that he indeed was growing pot. Photo courtesy of Catherine Bernard. McCoy was offered 8 years probation, Bernard says, but chose to fight the case. During trial, McCoy decided to testify. He had little choice. He was caught red-handed. He said his attorney told him, "Talk to them. They will connect with you." He gulped and sat in the witness box, telling jurors that 15 years ago he was mugged and beaten into a coma. He has suffered migraines and depression and ended up self-medicating with pot because Zoloft turned me into a zombie. Prosecutors tried to make it look so bad, that I was selling it. But I had nothing to hide, McCoy told me, explaining his decision to testify. The jurors had their eyes on me, I had my eyes on them. Marijuana makes you eat, McCoy told the jury. It made me feel calm. It made me relax. It helps with my pain. He is a country guy who lives by hustling, painting, landscaping, selling fish, driving people to the store. Ultimately, he said, we had a jury you could relate to. Truck drivers, mechanics, construction. People who worked. They saw I wasn't bothering nobody. That's what I believe they felt. Bernard said she doesn't coach defendants before testifying because juries pick up on that. I think they appreciated his honesty. People in Dublin have respect for the law, Bernard said. But this was about fairness, about properly using law enforcement resources. Dublin area resident Antonio Willis, pictured in a police sting video, was an unemployed factory worker when he picked up a couple of grams of weed for an undercover cop that Willis thought was helping him get a job. Atlanta attorney Catherine Bernard won Willis acquittal. Police video screenshot. In America we leave someone alone if they are not bothering somebody, Bernard said. A world where he needs to be dragged away by armed men and put in a cage is not a world where people want to live. She doesn't like the term jury nullification. It brings up a negative image. It's simply part of being a jury. The jury judges the law and the facts. Denise Delaru, a jury consultant not involved in this case, said, "Jurors are really interested in justice. There are often cases of no loss, no foul. There's no real victim here." That's pretty much what the jurors said. A couple said the case presented to them by prosecutors was a mess because the lawyers had to avoid talking about the shooting. In fact, the jurors I spoke with never even knew the missing charge involved a shooting. Two of them said second chances also played heavily into their verdict. Lizzie Mae Davis said, "He was believable. He wasn't trying to make money. He had it to ease his health." Davis said she really has no problem with people using pot, as long as they're not around me. In-depth, attitudes about pot shift in Georgia, but tough laws remain. Juror Brian Lloyd said of the verdict, "Sometimes good things happen to good people." Kenneth Thompson, who works in construction, said jurors liked that McCoy was forthright. Ultimately, they decided, the man didn't deserve to get tossed into the slammer. If he's disrupting the peace and dignity of the state, well, a lot of us said he wasn't bothering anybody, Thompson said. By that, he was referring to an argument that Bernard made, pointing out the indictment has standard Georgia legalese that says the alleged crime was contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. How on earth was a man in a trailer growing weed for his headaches affecting anyone's good order, peace or dignity? She argued. It's good to see citizens often have more common sense than the system. What to find a lawyers who will help you with asking the jury nullification. BernardLawOffices.com. I will put the link below as well. Another law office is also helping. As they say in Georgia, the police are obsessed with the war on drugs. Even in the face of the legalization of marijuana throughout the United States, we arrest and prosecute simple possession of marijuana all the time. Drug enforcement has become the justification for searching the homes, automobiles, and personal property of people causing no harm to anyone else. Read more on their website www.dui.info. Link will below also. From their website we read: The war on freedom, the war on drugs. In Georgia, the police are obsessed with the war on drugs. Even in the face of the legalization of marijuana throughout the United States, we arrest and prosecute simple possession of marijuana all the time. Drug enforcement has become the justification for searching the homes, automobiles, and personal property of people causing no harm to anyone else. It has also been the justification used by the police when they cause actual harm to innocent people, such as when the police break into the wrong home and murder innocent people or kill their pets. We all remember the police throwing a grenade in a Habersham County home where a baby was horribly burned, all because of the war on drugs. Yet, many of our judges do not let attorneys tell juries about the collateral consequences of this pointless war on people harming no one. We need to resist by asking juries to acquit people. We need to send a message to government to utilize their resources to prosecute cases where there is an actual victim, rather than ruin the lives of people for no reason. We need also to support judicial candidates who understand the role of a judge is to protect the rights of the accused. Practice note: possession of marijuana case. In the event defense counsel has an ethical and honest judge, tell a jury that the law is stupid and should not be followed. Use the closing argument to explain, for example, that possession of marijuana harms no one and is being legalized throughout the United States. Argue that police resources are better utilized protecting citizens from actual harm. Argue the collateral consequences of the war on drugs, and the harm it has caused to innocent people. In jurisdictions where the judiciary is the tool of the prosecution, use the pattern jury instructions against them. The subtle argument is as follows. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the judge will be instructing you on the only duty you have in this case, the duty to acquit the defendant if you have reasonable doubt. This is the only duty you have, and remember you have sworn an oath to follow your duty. The rest is entirely up to you. You will be instructed that you are both the judge of the facts and the law. Even if you have found that the state has met its burden of proof, you only have the option to convict the accused. You will be instructed that you may convict. So, if the state does not meet its burden of proof, you must acquit, but if they meet their burden, you may convict the defendant. With your verdict, you have the option to send a message to the prosecutor and the Georgia General Assembly to use police and court resources somewhere else. Use these resources against those who harm others. The word verdict comes from the Latin phrase meaning to speak the truth. The truth does not mean blindly following a law that is unjust. We in Georgia have quite a history of unjust laws, including Jim Crow. The fact that something is illegal does not mean it should be illegal. The excuse of "I was following the law" did not protect German war criminals after World War II. Our war on drugs has created generational poverty and the destruction of entire communities. It has also created a culture of mistrust of the police in minority communities, thereby causing victims of crime to remain silent, rather than reporting a crime to the police. Tell a jury to speak the truth and the message they send to the government. Jury nullification is the most important right we citizens have against government tyranny. Our prosecutors have incredible power to arrest and prosecute someone. Their authority is virtually unchecked up and until the day of trial. Our jury system is the last defense our citizens have against the unlimited power of government. Finally, when challenged by unethical and uninformed judges, bring your copy of the Georgia Constitution. Read Article I, Section 1. Paragraph 11. In open court. It will likely be the first time they have heard it. At our office we will fight for you against government tyranny. If you have been charged with possession of marijuana in Georgia, call now. Georgia DUI Lawyer 404-816-4440. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our news story. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, please tell us what you think below.